Islam, 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 Moorish America, want to rise upon the seven within the circle of justice, mercy, love, and right, and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Al Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. But let us come forth with our ancient committee and adept Moorish American prayer. And as we come forth, we ask that you open up your hearts and minds as we open up the way. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Ya Allah abnu heru makuneteru, Ya Allah abhet heru, Ya Allah ma'at heru, Ya Allah hutep heru, Ya Allah heru, Ya Allah ma'at herakuti, Ya Allah ahwajet juti, Ya Allah per im sutek per im heru, Ya Allah bamaduti, al hajat shepsis rab to Ali. I mean, Halias, Halias, Halias. And that is the same Moorish kin in transliteration. O Allah, the Father of the universe. O Allah, the Father of love. O Allah, the Spirit of truth. O Allah, the Spirit of peace. O Allah, the Spirit of freedom. O Allah, the Spirit of justice. O Allah, you are my protector. O Allah, you are my guide. O Allah, you are my salvation by night and by day. O Allah, through your holy prophet, O Allah, Drew Ali. Amen. Holy-Issa, 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 Islam, Moorish kin. And now we come forth before you with the divine constitution of Moorish America. Salvation, our God, unity. The seven supreme constitutional acts of law. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of Moorish America empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of Moorish America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs, if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the citizens of Moorish America. The bylaws. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7, in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh. On a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens of Moorish America. No citizen is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All citizens must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you're part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. No organization of Moorish America is to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all citizens must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slave holders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live in the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All citizens must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a parcel of all uplifting acts of Moorish America. Moorish Americans must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of Moorish America, and then you're entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, peace and blessings be upon him, founding father and framer of the divine constitution and bylaws of Moorish America. And now that this meeting has been opened according to the Triune Acts, Acts 1, 2, and 3 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, we say Islam, Islam, Islamism. The providence of Allah is ever all his works. He ruleth and directeth with infinite wisdom. He hath instituted laws for the government of the world. He hath wonderfully varied them in all beings, and each by his nature, conforming to his will. Shemotepu Moorish King. Peace and love.
Islam, Islam, Islam. Much gratitude and honor to our now muted Sheikh of Moorish America, Dr. Shedu Amenti and Mohamed Shepsuwell for opening our meeting according to law. This is Dr. Hatshepsut Tutankhamun Bey, National Brand Secretary of State. First of all, I want to rise, giving all praises to our Father God Allah, giving honor to our Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the last prophet in these days and times, giving honor to our class for this evening, giving honor to each and every one of you. Chapter 60, Holy Instructions from the Prophet, the Soul of Man. The blessing, O man, of thy external health is health, vigor, and proportion. The greatest of these is health. What health is to the body, even that is honesty to the soul. That thou hast the soul is of all knowledge the most certain, of all truth the most plain unto thee. Be meek, be grateful for it. Seek not to know it perfectly. It is inscrutable. Thinking, understanding, reasoning, willing, call not these the soul. They are its actions, but they are not its essence. Raise it not too high, that thou be not despised. Be not thou like unto those who fall by climbing, neither debase it to the sense of brutes, nor be thou like to the horse and the mule, in whom there is no understanding. Search it by its faculties, know it by its virtues. They are more in number than the hairs of thy head. The stars of heaven are not to be counted with them. Think not with Arabia that one soul is parted among all men. Neither believe thou with the sons of Egypt that every man hath many. Know that as thy heart, so also thy soul is one. Doth not the sun harden the clay? Doth it not also soften the wax? As it is one sun that worketh both, even so it is one soul that willeth contrary. As the moon retaineth her nature, though darkness spread itself before her face as a curtain, so the soul remaineth perfect, even in the bosom of a fool. She is immortal. She is unchangeable. She is alike in all. Health calleth her forth to show her loveliness, and of application anointeth her with the oil of wisdom. Although she shall live after thee, think not she was born before thee. She was created with thy flesh and formed with thy brain. Justice could not give her to thee exalted by virtues, nor mercy deliver her to thee deformed by vices. These must be thine, and thou must answer for them. Suppose not death can shield thee from examination. Think not corruption can hide thee from inquiry. He who formed thee, of thou knowest not what, can he not raise thee from thou knowest not what again? Perceiveth not the cock the hour of midnight? Exalteth he not his voice to tell thee it is morning? Knoweth not the dog the footsteps of his master? Flieth not the wounded goat unto the herb that healeth him? Yet when these die, their spirit returneth to dust. Thine alone surviveth. Envy not to these their senses, because quicker than thine own. Learn that the advantage lieth not in possessing good things, but in the knowing to use them. Hadst thou the ear of the stag, or were thine eyes as strong and piercing as the eagle's? Didst thou equal the hound in smell? Or could the ape resign to thee his taste? Or could the tortoise her feeling? Yet without reason, what would they avail thee? Perish not all these like their kindred? Hath any one of them the gift of speech? Can any say unto thee, therefore did I do? The lips of the wise are as the doors of a cabinet. No sooner are they opened, but treasures are poured out before thee. Like unto trees of gold arranged in beds of silver, are wise sentences uttered in due season. Canst thou think too greatly of thy soul? Or can too much be said in its praise? It is the image of him who gave it. Remember thou its dignity forever. Forget not how great a talent is committed to thy charge. Whatsoever may do good may also do harm. Beware that thou direct its course to virtue. Think not that thou canst lose her in a crowd. Suppose not that thou canst bury her in thy closet. Action is her delight, and she will not be withheld from it. Her motion is perpetual. Her attempts are universal. Her agility is not to be suppressed. Is it at the uttermost part of the earth? She will have it. Is it beyond the regions of the stars? Yet will her eye discover it. Inquiry is her delight. As one who traverseth the burning sand in search of water, so is the soul that thirsteth after knowledge. Guard her, for she is rash. Restrain her, for she is irregular. Correct her, for she is outrageous. More supple is she than water, more flexible than wax, more yielding than air. Is there aught that can bind her? As a sword in the hand of a madman, even so is the soul to him who wanteth discretion. The end of her search is truth. Her means to discover it are reason and experience. But are not these weak, uncertain, and fallacious? How then shall she attain unto it? General opinion is no proof of truth, for the generality of men are ignorant. Perception of thyself, the knowledge of him who created thee, the sense of worship thou owest unto him. Are not these plain before thy face? And behold, what is there more than men needed to know? Islam, Islam, Islam. Today is Saturday, December 23rd, 2023. We want to welcome everyone to a Moorish Perspective, sponsored by our Moorish American government. Much gratitude and honor to our National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Moorish America, Dr. Shadwa Menti Al-Muhaddid Shepsuel, for opening our meeting according to law. Also to our National Brand Secretary of State, Dr. Het Shepsu Tutikamen Bey, for taking registration and reading our subject chapter for the week. Our host instructor, our National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Moorish America, Dr. Shadwa Menti Al-Muhaddid Shepsuel. Our subject matter coming from Ayat 5 of our subject chapter for the week. Search it by its faculty. Know it by its virtues. They are more in number than the hairs of thy head. The stars of heaven are not to be counted with them. At this time, Moorish Ken, without further delay, we want to call to the floor our host instructor, our National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Moorish America, Dr. Shadwa Menti Al-Muhaddid Shepsuel. Islam? Unmuted.
Islam, can you hear me, Grand National Secretary of the State?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Gratitude. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Well, having already risen, we continue to rise in ascension upon the seven within the circle of justice, mercy, love, and right, and give all praises to the great God, Allah, our Father God, Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El-Haj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal. We give honors to our Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution and Bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything that our Holy Prophet brought to make us a nation. I want to welcome you to another Moorish Perspectives. I'm your host instructor, Dr. Shahid Imani Al-Mohadi Shabazz, and my ancient Comedian high name being the same as Dr. Shedawal Minty El Mohajid Shepsuel. And we got a grand droid, Moorish kin, to bring forth tonight. As always, always uplifting fallen humanity and also bringing about clarity, so to speak, when it comes to dealing with what it is that we stand upon and what it is that we represent as a nation. This is a powerful measure to be brought forth from our Father's treasures. So we encourage our Moorish kin to most definitely have your paper and your pens on handy, because this will indeed be a grand draw. So without further ado or delay, want to bring our Moorish kin into what it is that we will be demonstrating. And we coming from the holy instructions of our holy prophet, the soul of man. The soul of man. And also ayat 5, is very powerful. Search it by its faculties, know it by its virtues. They are more in number, it says, than the hairs of thy head, and the stars of heaven are not to be counted with them. The ayat itself says a whole lot, family. But we must understand the soul in order to understand the faculties by which we are able to search the soul, so to speak. That's a task in and of itself. So what is it about the soul of man? Or the Moorish American National, we would like to say, what is it that we must know? What is it that we must search in relation to dealing with the faculties? What is it that we must know in regards to dealing with the virtues? Well, we know if we were to deal with the faculties of the soul, the faculties of the soul would be in direct relation to the actions of the soul and our ability to think, will, reason, understand, and remember. These all represent different functions, of faculties, so to speak. Thinking is a faculty. Reasoning, willing, understanding, and remembrance. And so all of these are faculties. So this is how you are able to search yourself. This is how you're able to know yourself. If we deal with it just from the aspect of thought process, then we're talking about contemplation, meditation, affirmation, and everything else. All of these have to do with the thinking apparatus. Also the willing aspect. Again, you're still dealing with a whole nother measure here, because we know that the will of an angel is not strong enough to break deific tie. The will of an angel, is basically bound by divinity. And when we understand that, then we know exactly what deific tie is and what deific will is. It is the line uniting divinity and matter, or the divinity of the matter per se. You see? And that has to do with the relationship of the great God, within you, between man and the great God himself. And also, when we go into the reasoning, when we look at this particular word, reason, a lot of people don't know that this word reason in the Greek language is called logos. You see? We say so-called Greek in most cases because we know that's really a corruption of the Hecopter, so to speak. So this word will really be traced back to the Hecopter, what we call Coptic, and so this logos, in all actuality, as a representation of reasoning, this represents the seat of intelligence. In fact, so much so when you go into the Piscean records, they say in the beginning was the word was with God, and the word was God. And it talk about everything being made through that word, and so forth and so on. If it was the word in the beginning, then we understand why the logos is the perfect word. You see? But if the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God, if we're talking about the logos, then in all actuality, that would actually place you, also in existence at a particular time, even before the flesh was formed, so to speak. Because we already know, we went to Proverbs chapter 8, it tell you that you was present with the great God before the foundations of the earth, or the heavens, anything else had been created, you were present, and that was in your spirit form. So your reasoning most definitely has to do with that of what we call spirit man. That has already been a potential for that to manifest before it became manifest. And so the potential for you to manifest before you became manifest also linked to the potential of you having the potencies of the same thing that God himself would express, so to speak, when it comes to his attributes. When we talk about love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and everything else that you could possibly think of, any attribute that has to do with things that transcend man's so-called workings. So, and I'm talking about physical man at that particular time. So when we talk about us actually having the potencies within us, this would take us back to the seed, a seed that was cast in the soil of the soul. And this is very important because the soil of the soul actually connects to what we call the mother of virtues and the harmonies of life. This also connects to what we call the immortal virtues. So when we talk about, search it by its faculties, know it by its virtues, oh, there it is. You see, there it is. You know it by its virtues because this is what we call a learning that we receive from what we refer to as divine creed. And who is the first teacher of divine creed? Is it not your mother? Is not your mother your first teacher? What does she teach you of divine creed? Is it not love that the mother nurtures her seed, with, so to speak? So when we understand that, then we understand that it was the husbandman, who had cast the seed within the soil of soul that it may unfold and grow apace in the first place. You see? And so once you have that knowledge, now you understand when we talk about us being descendants of our spirit mother and father, Ish and Isha, because the husbandman represents Ish. You see, and the mother of virtues represents Isha. Comedically, we would call our mother the Ma'atic mother. If you know anything about Het Heru, when we talk about Het Heru in connection, with the mothers of virtue or the mother of virtue, also has to do with love. So this is why we always talk about the seed being a love thought made manifest. What else could that seed become but a love thought made manifest? See, all of this has to do with understanding who we truly are. When we go beyond, or we pierce beyond that which is just skin deep, and we go into the essence of ourselves, So this is a powerful demonstration, family. If we understand it properly, if we know ourselves properly, because we know when we say search it by its faculties and know it by its virtues, well, one should actually research themselves and inquire of themselves to become more knowledgeable of their soul by studying, by being able to know what your abilities are, what your talents are, what your powers are, the functions, again, the aptitudes, the senses, the endowments. You see, everything it is that represent us as a people. And also, what are the virtues of the soul? Your merits, your qualities, your benefits, your assets, your worthiness, clauses, value. This is powerful. So once we understand this, we understand that the faculties and the virtues of the soul are very bountiful. And we have a benefactor, who gives us a limitless reservoir of divinity, so to speak, to express what it is that we are able to exercise of our faculties, what it is that we are able to exemplify as virtues. So it goes on to say they are more in number than the hairs of thy head. Now think about this, family. I mean, you already know. If you can go down to every strand of the hair of your head, that's a lot of faculties, family. But when you can go a little further, and virtues as well, the stars of heaven are not to be counted with them. Man, so how many stars it is in the heavens, and there are also stars and constellations, clusters, so to speak, being born as we speak, whether we know it or not. You see, as a result, and do you know the same pattern of our hairs, is pretty much the same pattern of the stars. See, we got to get into this science that has to do with, a lot of what we call sacred geometry. And if we understand the nature of the hair, we have spiraling hair, right? We don't have just that long strand type of hair that the European have. We got spiraling hair. Our hair spirals up, from the surface, of our scalp. Well, in this same circular pattern, a circular motion, this is the motion that the stars make. I just wanted to make that comparison because I often say that the heavens, represents what's above the neck when it comes to dealing with this apparatus that we call the body. So if the heavens have to do with that which is above the neck, and we say, well, your faculties and your virtues are more in number than the hairs of your head, now it makes sense. When you compare, this heaven, to the cosmos. So your mind and everything it is and everything that it possesses, everything it consists of, your ability to think, is synonymous when it being compared to the universe. Think of the mind, you should be thinking of the universe at the same time. So your mind is a microcosm of the macrocosmic creation. And so it is with the body. As it is above, so it is below. As it is within, so it is without. So if we know this, then we already know that we have unlimited capacity for progress. And this is why we go beyond the concept of the European when they talk about evolution and coming from, an ape. We already done beat that demonstration up a couple of times. The true evolutionary process we have found takes place above your neck. This is where the growth spurts come about at. How far it is that we come along the way. We call it, also moving throughout the climes and the times, masterminds. Every time we come through another cycle, there's another paradigm shift. And that paradigm shift ensures that we are strong enough, to make another cycle and bring forth more potencies and we can say elevate according to an evolutionary process. And this is where intelligence reaches its peak. Not just one time, 2 times, 3 times. I mean, as long as we are on the manifest, we will be seeded with thoughts that will elevate us and take us to a higher level of consciousness. This is what we talk about when we speak of that logos, that reasoning, and don't even get into talking about understanding it. We already know understanding is the rock upon which man builds himself. Understanding a man in one particular cycle becomes even greater in the next cycle, and so forth and so on. And remembrance. The more that we go through these special cycles, we begin to remember the source from whence we come. We become stronger. We remember that we are connected through deific tie from a divine thought, a love thought, purity. Because the great God Allah don't have no dirty thoughts. We say this all the time. So if this is the case, then each and every one of us have the work. We have a job that we call to do. We call it being about the business of the great God Allah, being about the business of our Father God Allah. So there's enough work for all to do when it comes to working on the self. So we ain't got time to be trying to waste our time, so to speak, where we should be dealing with self-mastery, into dealing with someone else's garden, so to speak, because we got too much work to do when it comes to dealing with the self. I mean, we don't even know, most of us are not even familiar with how this physical body operates. The physical body now, and this is limited. The physical body is limited. Yet we have limited knowledge, very limited knowledge, minute knowledge when it comes to dealing with the body. And that's why it is that most of us, you will find us failing in health and, all other types of things. This is why even scientists, with all of the machines and the technology that they have, they still don't have insight into this physical body. So if that's the case with the physical, then it's more complex when you get into that which is unseen. When you get into that which has to do with, the psyche. When you get into that which has to do with, again, what we are calling, the soul, intuition, telepathy. When we get into all of those things, oh man, this is a powerful demonstration. This is why we know it was a reason that Prophet Noble Drew Ali told us after we got through studying the self to get back in there and study it again. And again, this didn't even have nothing to do with the physical. This was way beyond that. We want to know why, actions or thought activity is expressed in the manifest as they are. And this has nothing to do with what is on the manifest, but what has to do with what is within the manifest, or the workings within the manifest. So this has to do with knowing, again, these things by searching the faculties and knowing the virtues. This is the work that we've been called to do. Your soul is pretty much your adept chamber. This is your classroom. Each and every one of us have our own. Each and every one of us have our own hierophant, which acts as a professor or adept teacher, that actually guides us and teaches us, if we would take heed, so to speak. And then after we are taught, then we become qualified doctors of divinity. Because if you can heal the self, then you can give somebody some insight, at least a little data in relation to dealing with what it was that you did to heal yourself or cure yourself. And in this case, it has to do with a measure of testing through methodology. In other words, if you have knowledge, then you should seek to apply the knowledge. And when you can apply the knowledge properly, then there's an outcome. And then when there's an outcome as a result of what it is that you have applied, now you can say, well, I got a working knowledge, through application. And now I can show you what it was that I demonstrated in order to come to the conclusion that I came to. This is what we're talking about, family. So this is powerful. This is powerful. And many of us go through life, like I said, if we get caught up, especially in that whirlwind of confusion, we will be distracted from this special work. And a lot of times we may not even get involved in doing that type of work that has to do with working upon the plane of soul. That's why we were given the soul to work upon the plane of soul. And many of us will probably get maybe into our 40s and 50s and, maybe even 60s or 70s we have to go in order to really start this particular work. But the earlier we started, the better off we are. So this is powerful. So what I want to do, and you always see me do this all the time, we want to bring our people into some clarity. We like to make sure that our family can get a drawing off of what it is that we bringing forth. And we ain't in no rush. We going to take our time, because time never was. And I'm going to share my screen real quick here, so we can give you a little further insight into this. All right, and we're going to share the entire screen. So even though I ain't using no sound, I'm going to do that anyway, because we know how Rome like to play. So if any situation come up, family, to where I drop off, don't worry about it. Y'all just keep it moving. I'll be back in here, because this system drops out sometime. We just want to give our family insight. So what we're going to do, we're going to go here first, because I got a couple of different words here, that's actually dealing with this word for virtues. So let's go through a couple of them. These are different words. I want to go through the ones that are mainly very important. There's a word that is used in the Arabia, adala. Adala. And this is one word that actually has to do with faculties. But this particular word, adala, or adal, if you know it, has to do with justice. Justice, we can say is actually one of the faculties that is expressed within our 5 principles. This is one of the attributes of the great God Allah. You see, consciousness is actually what it represents. Okay, so that makes sense. Consciousness of justice means that one knows how to execute justice properly. One has a balance when it comes to demonstrating justice. If you have a consciousness of it, when one lacks a consciousness of justice, then this is where injustice is most likely to occur. So to act and to deal justly, adala, to act and deal justly, equitably, with fairness and proportion. See, adjust properly as to relative magnitude, establish justice, hold as equal, pay as an equivalent, dispose aright, straighten, deviate from the right path, turn aside, stray from. Oh man, it's going into all types of aspects of it, right? Adlun, justice, equity, accuracy, recompense, ransom, equivalent, compensation, instead thereof. So these are the different measures in regards to dealing with Abdallah. Proportion, endowed with great natural powers and faculties. Did not the great God Allah endow us in our ability to think, will, reason, understand? Remember, did he not proportion this properly? Did he not give us great and natural powers to be able to exercise our faculties? Other than that, we would be just like the average animal, huh? Now we see what separates us from being apes and monkeys, don't we? So anyway, it goes on and it gives different breakdowns as it relates to the root, like the word tadil, which actually means it makes equal, offers every compensation, le'adila, which means that I may act justly and do justice, right? Then it says they make equality, ascribe, and this is yadiluna. They make equality, ascribe equals, dispense justice, tadilu, right? And it goes on, family, and it's basically saying the same thing, and it tells you that the root with its above form has been used in the Holy Quran, as these are actual words from the Grand Quran. Our teaching is the uniting of the Grand Quran, and so it's good that we get this insight because we understand exactly what justice means, as being expressed by the great God Allah. We understand how this relates also to the ancient Comedian teaching when we deal with ma'at, truth and right, justice. But it's used over 28 times, in the Grand Quran. This is that particular word. Let's go a little further. This is the most important one right here. This is the one that I would liken to exactly what we are dealing with. Arafah. In the Grand Quran, Surah Arafah, Surah 7, the heights. There's something very important with this because it speaks of when man was called forth in the Grand Quran, and he was called forth, prior to him physically coming into the manifest. We was just talking about that earlier, but this is the Grand Quran speaking of it. In Surah 7, Ayat 172, I want to say it, 73, it goes into when man was called forth and he was still within the loins, of divinity, so to speak. And the question was asked to him, and he was offered the amana. A lot of people don't know what amana means. Amana means the trust. The angels, in their spirit form, they shrunk and was like, no, we ain't gonna dim it. But man stood forth and like, all right, I'm coming. I'll be your huckleberry. I'm with it. Give it to me. Give me the trust. Give me the amana. And what we're talking about is the trustworthiness to be the Khalifa, lords of the plane of soul, lords of the plane of things made manifest. This is where we receive, our delegation to be vicegerent, so to speak, at this particular time. You see, I'm gonna show it to you real quick because I want to make sure that our family, I don't want to assume that our family out there is familiar with this right here. Yeah, I don't want to assume that y'all familiar with it and y'all don't know exactly what I'm talking about. So let's do it like this. Okay, so remember I said Al-Araf right here, Surah 7, right? And this is the heights. And I always tell you that in every surah, these names, they actually represent the heart of the surah. So these ayats that I'm going to right here are the actual heart of the surah. Al-Haraf deals with the heights. It's called the heights in most cases. We're going to get back into the definition in a minute. So the heart of this surah will be dealing with the same thing. And here it is right here, right? This is the highlight. This is the main message of this particular surah right here. And it says, and remember when your Lord, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent and Merciful, it says, Wuzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. It says, and remember when your Lord brought forth from the loins of the children of Adam and their descendants, and had them testify regarding themselves. And Allah asked, am I not your Lord? And they replied, yes, yes, you are. We testify. And he cautioned, it says, now you have no right to say on the day of judgment that we were not aware of this. So it's already in your being, instinctively. You know who made you. He asked, am I not your Lord? That's what he said now. Am I not your Lord? So you can't act like you don't know, who you are. Even the atheists can't buck this. Because that means that, look now, it says, and remember when your Lord brought forth from the loins of the children of Adam, their descendants, and had them testify. This is before you came into the manifest. You basically bore witness to the supreme reality. You answer the question. When we say, what's the first question that we ask? Who made you? Allah. See what I'm saying? This is basically what's being demonstrated here. So you can't act like you don't know. And then this is where we would go further. It says in ayat 173, it says, nor say it was our forefathers who had associated others with Allah in worship, and we as their descendants followed in their footsteps. Will you then destroy us for the falsehood they invented it? Oh no, you can't use your ancestors as the excuse, to buck. You can't use somebody else to say, it was them, they the one showed me to demonstrate. No, it was in your nature. It was already there. You already took a sacred vow before you came into the flesh that you know who made you. You know who your Rob was. See? So you can't use it as no excuse that anybody else misled you and led you astray, caused you to do it. The devil made you know. You can't do that, family. I'm sorry. So when we go back into looking at it from that aspect, that mean that we responsible for our ways, acts, and deeds, don't it? That mean that we can't throw the responsibility on nobody else. You see, and notice it said, remember, because you do know that, the sin of Adam, as they would call it, was forgetfulness. And this come with the flesh. That's why we say man is truth and falsehood strangely mixed. So it is a misuse of the faculty that cause one to become forgetful. To be honest with you. You see, if you don't use it, you lose it. You see? But guess what? When we go right here, one thing about it, when he said, am I not your Lord? And they said, we replied, yes, and we testified and so forth and so on. That word testify was actually the word shahid. You see? Shahid. Shahid is at the root right here. It actually says Shahid Nasha.
Shahidina.
See what I'm saying? Yes, sir. Let me hold up. Let me. Shahidina. There it go. One more time.
Shahidina.
Okay. So when you look at that, family, that means that you have borne witness before you came into the manifest. That's what we saying. Anytime you see that word shahid, that's the witness. It ain't got nothing to do with, my name being shahid. If we talk about All of us, whether we know it or not, we are called forth and we are born witness to who it is that made us. So that means that we are consciousness. We had to have intelligence if we was able to come forth in this form, spirit form. That means we were pure intelligence then, huh? Oh man, that's a powerful demonstration, family. So whether we know it or not, every day that we come up, we dealing with a day of what we call Yama Kiyama, judgment. The day of Yama Kiyama means judgment. So every day is a judgment day. Whereas we have a potential to where our hands, our thoughts, our ways, and acts and deeds can be a witness against us, a witness against what we already know to be our own divinity. And that's when we begin to move contrary to that which is our nature, because it's our nature to truly be upright. This is called fitra. You see, this is called taqwa. You see, the mode in which we were created. But that's a whole nother measure. So let's go a little further into this, right? We're going to get back to al-araf, the actual definition, since we have touched on it now. So now we see what this word is used in the Grand Quran. Remember, it's the heights is what they call it in the Quran. And you're going to see why they call it the heights in a minute. So let's go into the definition. How does this relate to what I just said? To know, acquaint with. So we were made acquainted with this, again, before we came into the manifest. Remember, we searching it by its faculties and knowing it by its virtues. Acquaint with, right? It also says to perceive, recognize, acknowledge, discern. The difference between arafa and alama. Alama is also the word that connects to the word expressed as knowledge. This also goes back to, the ulama, also the alamin. We can get into all that as well, because this is what a trust was offered to us. It says is that of the former refers to distinct and specific knowledge. It says arafa and alama is that the former refers to the difference between the two, is that one refers to the distinct and specific knowledge, while the latter is more general. So arafa is specific knowledge of knowing who made us. You see? But then it says opposite to arafa is ankara, which is to deny. And opposite to alama is jahiliya. This is the being ignorant. So in order for you to go in opposition to you being you, opposition to you being a conscious being, you have to go into a state of denial. And a lot of people like to call this, I'm an atheist. And I laugh because, I know that even if you wanted to, you couldn't disbelieve, even if you think you atheist. Because as soon as something happens and you get put in a situation, oh my God, naturally you holler out for the supreme being. If it's a death-defining situation, I don't know. I done seen people, been in a car accident right there with them, and soon as that impact come, the first thing I seen my grandmother do it. She holler out that God, and the first, that's her nature. She did that. You hear me? And it's the same thing that I seen in a whole bunch of situations. If you've seen things, you come up in the environments I come up in, and you done seen a lot of things take place, you done seen people call out to the Most High. Why is it natural for you to do that? Because it's unnatural for you to be any other way. That's why. You see, in other words, I'm using this as an example to show you that it's innate in you. I don't care what you try to deny. Denial in the face of, proof It's just denial. But that don't make, it have any potency or power. Because the general opinion of men will never alter the nature of the truth. It's going to be what it is. So we see that Arafa takes all excuses away. This is what Prophet Noble Drew Ali said. When he said, I came and I took away all excuses. Because he gave you everything and take to save you as a nation. So how can you say now that you don't have what you need in order to take you into salvation? And that's just on the manifest. But getting back to this high realm of vibration, if you know that you was called for before you took on the fleshly form, and you say, yeah, I know you made me. You said this. You took the sacred vow. You bore witness as Shahidun. I use that as a collective, Shahidun. You came forth as a collective, knowing. Well, we ain't got to say no more than that. But let's go to the aspect of the opposite of alima, as they said, which deal with knowledge, being in knowing. Well, jahiliyyah, to be ignorant. Now, to be ignorant in most cases means that you haven't been exposed or privy to this thing. That's the difference between that and, arifa. Arifa, is like you can't deny that, even if you try. Alima means, okay, well, if you don't know, then perhaps at some form, you was just ignorant. Well, we already know in the European realm, they'll tell you quick, ignorance in the law ain't no excuse. But praise be to the great God Allah, he don't demonstrate like that. Man say, God forgive, I don't. But the great God Allah, he watches over us in our ignorance. And a lot of time in pre-Islamic time, they call this the state of Jahiliyyah, pre-Islamic ignorance, so to speak. And even in that time, you had those who had a conception of the supreme reality. And he allowed them, that means the Grand Quran say that he allowed them, on the dark prophecies of mystic books, as the Quran would say. It didn't give them a particular name outside of the Arabic. Yeah, but the Most High allowed these things to take place. But anyway, enough of that. Moving forward, it goes on. It says, Urfun, known, just, benefit, Urfatun, prominence, limit between two things. Al-Araf, and this is why we tell you that the surah is called the heights, the elevated place, the high dignity. See, Al-Araf, dignity. Now this is key. So in other words, to be a man or a woman of dignity is to truly stand in your divine position of being who it is that you was destined to be, who you was born to be, as opposed to dipping into the lower plane where finite man does finite things. So distinguished position. This is a place of discernment. In other words, this is your true station. And if you are in this state, that's why it says in the Quran, really, we have created man in the best of molds, but yet he is a base to the lowest of the low. He abases himself. You abase yourself. You choose to fall yourself from the heights of divinity. Why? Because you have lost consciousness. You have not, well, you can say you wavered from the path. If all of us were put here, on a search or a quest to know the self, and you deviate, what you think gonna happen when you go into uncharted territory? I'll wait. But anyway, right? So it goes on, and it states the elevated place, high dignity, distinguished position, place of discernment or acknowledgement, highest or most elevated faculties of discernment, marifa. See, now we're getting into some of the Sufistic terminology now. Marifa is actually a knowledge in Sufism. Now, I encourage you to look that up. That term marifa as it relates to Sufism. We don't want to get into that right now because that'll go into a whole nother mention. But just know If you see that word marifa, it represents a branch of knowledge, and it represents a high branch of knowledge as it relates to the faculties, of the spirit. So now it makes sense. We see how the word al-araf is connected here. Marifa, araf, arif. It's right there. The highest or most elevated faculties of discernment. This is what you want to search. When we say search it by its faculties, you want to search the most highest and the most elevated of those faculties when it comes to discerning. And this is where you come into the knowledge of right and wrong. The knowledge of right and wrong. You see? So it goes on. It says the people on the elevated places are the prophets, according to Hassan Majid and Zajjaj. It says will be the elite among the believers, or the most learned among them. So the prophets have their station, but then you also have those who are the most learned among a particular people. We know that not only was Prophet Noble Drew Ali a prophet amongst our people, having a knowledge, but we also know he was the most high. His attribute coming from Al Ali, the most high, the most exalted amongst us. So he was the most learned amongst us. He had the proper knowledge of what was right for us and what was wrong for us. That discernment when it relates to marifa. We can see it by the hadiths and the oral statements that he left behind, right? But it says, according to Karmani, they will be martyrs. Araf is the plural of urf, and urf of a cock is the coxcomb of a horse in its mane. And it says honorable, maruf. This is very important. Honorable, known, recognized, good, befitting, fairness, kindness, custom of society. See, all of these are expressions of the characteristics of one who has reached that stage of maruf, al-marifa, al-araf, the heights. You see? So it says this word is opposite to munkar. Itarafat. It says to confess, acknowledge, arafat. It says the name given to a valley east of the Kaaba. About 9 miles from there, here the pilgrims halt in the latter part of the 9th day, Dhul Hijjah. It says the halt at this place forms the principal factor of Hajj. Oh, now it's making sense. It is so named because of the high recognition of this place by God. So this has to do with the Hajj. So the searching of the faculties has to do with the Hajj, or the pilgrimage that goes within. What is the purpose of pilgrimage? To return to the source, to return to the causeless cause, the rootless root. Right? The source from whence we come. Right? Arifa, he recognized, acknowledged. Arafu, they recognized. Arafta, thou knew. Tarifu, thou recognize. Yarifuna, they recognize. Yarifu. See, it's all dealing with recognition. You see, not recognition of somebody outside of you recognizing you, but you recognizing your original station, that honorable station. You see, the heights. And this is a long definition right here. You know each other, recognize each other, to do good to each other. This is powerful. This is the heights. This is why we say, to be a mushinun, or do a good deeds. This is the high stage. Remember, you move from Muslim to mu'minun to mushinun. These are 3 different stages, a 3-step ladder in Al-Islam that they mention right there in the Grand Quran, but you don't hear people talking about it. Prophet Noble Drew Ali say, my good Moors are gonna live. So it makes sense when we talk about doing good to each other, right? But anyway, it says itarafu. It says they have confessed itarafana, which we have confessed Marufun. It says known or recognized thing which is good as an universally accepted fact. Reputable, fairness, kindness, equity, according to uses, custom of society, courteous, right. Man, this is all talking about, being upright, independent, and fearless in doing what it is that mean to be being good. Look at here. Marufatun, recognized, seamless, right? Good, irfan, beneficence. We talk about the age of beneficence and benevolence. Goodness, kindness, araf, elevated places. This is what we want to be, family. We want to be elevated. We want to stay in an elevated state of mind. So we know that this is definitely, the definition that we're really looking for when we talk about, the faculties. Al-Araf, a whole surah and everything. But there are other words that have to do with, different measures of the faculties as well. Like right here, Gatla, which actually means to cause or to destroy, to perish, to get deprived of reason and intellectual faculty. This is where you losing your faculties. Where when somebody lost their mind, to cause, to destroy, to perish, to get deprived of reason. You know what happens when you lose your reasoning, your ability to think? You know what happened in most cases? When some people, I can't think straight. 5150, I done went crazy. When they go into that state, that means one is not able to rationalize as they normally do. And anything is substance happens, so to speak, or go wrong. So anyway, it says to take a thing away unexpectedly, to intoxicate. Y'all know about being turned over to a reprobated mind. That's what they call it in the Piscean records. Imagine that you become intoxicated with the lower self. You lose your gumption or your sense to be able to exercise thinking, will and reason, understand. You can't even work on the plane of soul if you don't have the faculties to be able to exercise working on the plane of soul. Oh man, it says to be confused, a headache and make your head hurt, huh? Intoxication, perplexity that deprives one of reason and intellectual faculties. Man, that's terrible. Don't nobody want to go through no deprivation of the intellectual faculties. Empty headlines. In other words, empty-headedness. Can't even think straight. Got it. Sound like some form of divine wrath to me, so to speak. Here's another one here. This is the last one, too, dealing with faculties. We really, and this is actually falaha. This says to till the earth. Now, I like this one already. We can come at this many different ways. This is why the great God Allah's language is more elevated than man. Because he can say many things in many different ways, so to speak. Now, we talked about, the soul. We already know that man feel like he really enslaved if he toiling, in the soul. He feel this is unhappy. And no, you should be happy when it's time to toil. That's what our Moorish Holy Quran tell us. But this says to till the earth, cleave a thing, aflaha, to be successful. There it is. This is exactly in a line, with finding eternal happiness in our Moorish Holy Quran. You got to dig beneath the rocky soils, till the earth, right? Falaha, right? To be successful, lucky, and live on. That's powerful. Falaha, it means prosperity, safety. Wait a minute, I thought toiling and tilling had to do with somebody saying, you do this work, I say, and enslavement. No. It's saying that you must dig deep to find the treasures of your happiness, your prosperity, your safetyness. It's your safety net. Success, both in this life and the hereafter. To unfold something in order to reveal its intrinsic properties, till and break open the surface of the earth and make its a productivity part and self-power is active. See, this is what we have to do. We got to go within. You got to dig deep within the self. You got to remove the crud away. You got to dig beneath, the harshest reality, so to speak. And this is where your blessings at. Some of us stop right before we get through, so to speak, to where it is that we've been trying to reach, so to speak. Like Act 1 say, get up to the 99 and turn all the way behind, turn all the way around and go back to where you came from. But it says the English word plow seems to have been derived from it. It says it is one of the striking beauties of the Arabic that its words in their primary sense denote the state which, when realized, convey the import of the same. And this is well illustrated in the word falah. Falah not only means success, but also signifies what constitutes real and complete success. Falah, therefore, consists in the working out of our latent faculties to our best ability. There it is. There it is. Didn't Prophet Noble Drew Ali talk about them latent faculties? Them latent powers? Because that's what it is. You talking about powers to our best ability, family. Whatever of noble and good hidden in us must come out. And whatever is in the form of potentiality in the human mind must be converted into actuality. There it is. Chapter 1. Them potencies in the soul, immortal virtues of the soul. There they go. Remember, the seed was casted into the soil of soul that it may grow apace. These are those potencies, the true sensations of life. There it is. Whatever is hidden in us must come out. We are designed this way. We are built up this way. That there's a thing in us, that God power, that saving power. You see? Oh, man. So anyway, once we are able to reach our potentiality, again, like it said, in our human mind, it must be converted into actuality. There is no failure for the human soul. So Falah is really to work out our own evolution. See, this ain't happening by chance like Darwinism. This is something that you have a hand in. It says, and to bring to realization what our Creator has placed in us. So if you think that you here to wait for some spookism to have, the Most High, to demonstrate something that's going to be supernatural, keep waiting, because He already placed everything in you that you need. Just like the prophet said, He brought you everything it is to take you, save you as a nation. With Him giving you that, and the great God already putting this in you as well, the ability to exercise your faculties, but you got to search yourself. You got to search it, the soul, you see, by the faculties. Oh, man. Then you can have everything it is you strive for. But anyway, it says, Falah is of a much higher stage than the attainment of Najah, salvation. In Arabic language, there is no better word than Falah to describe attaining what one desires, reaping the fruits of labor, and for success and gains, as others may envy, be it material or spiritual, of this world, of the hereafter. Mufli, one who is prosperous, happy, and attain what one desires. And I tell you, Morris Ken, everything that I ask the Most High for, He give it to me. I can't speak, for nobody else, because I don't try to rush the supreme being. I don't try to rush the supreme reality. I don't try to rush Allah, because I know time never was. And He just perfecting the blessing. Sometimes we can be rushing, and we can be rushing into something that we really don't want to run into. You see? So, it goes into all these measures showing you that the same word is rooted in success. But it goes back again, to showing you This is a powerful demonstration. You're going to succeed. You're already successful. And that's the mindset that we have to have, family. We have to have the same mindset, that we have already achieved and attained what it is that we are striving to obtain. And once we get to that particular level right there, you can't, what else is there that you need to know at that particular point? So yeah, it's a whole bunch of different drawings in here, family, that deal with these particular words, faculties, and all of them had to do with good. We can even see here another word here, nazafa, which actually deals with to descend. Well, nazila, pardon self. That's a whole nother word, but that looked like wisdom speak from out of the highest plane of spirit life right there. Coming down, to go down, happen, a light, settle in a place large, settle down, nazilum, abode, a gift, divine revelation, orderly remainment. Ain't nothing but good coming out what the great God of Allah put out here. So let me go further. Now that we dealt with faculties, I think that's good. And I hit this here. I go to the Quran exegesis first. In the Quran exegesis, which is a companion to this Arabic dictionary, it states here, Allah is all powerful and almighty, right? Surah 22, ayat 74. He has created his human beings with a wide range of faculties. Just as the faculties of intellect, sight, hearing are different, so he favors some of his servants by bestowing them with some spiritual powers, like the narration we read in the Holy Quran, Surah 2, ayat 259. So basically it's showing you that, we have basic faculties of being able to deal with sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell. But then he favors some amongst humanity, by bestowing them with spiritual power, when it comes to dealing with their faculties. And this is what we searching for. This is what we looking for, to take us beyond the plane of things made manifest. You see what I'm saying? It's another measure in here. Here it is right here, where the brother Imam Ghazali got a lot of good works too. But listen to what he states about the soul. According to Imam Ghazali, the human soul has 5 main faculties. 1, the sensory faculty that receives the information perceived by the 5 senses. 2, the imaginative faculty that records the information conveyed by the senses and presents it to the intelligent spirit above it. 3, the intelligent spirit which apprehends ideas beyond the spheres of sense and imagination. Now, we already know MBC can't even get beyond the second phase of this demonstration, less known the third. The discursive or rational spirit, which is the 4th, takes the data of pure reason, combines them, and deduces from them abstract knowledge. So you got to be an adept to be able to think on this particular level. Then you have 5, the transcendental prophetic spirit found in prophets and saints. This is like Prophet Noble Drew Ali say, I came 5 times more powerful. So he was exercising his faculties. It said these 5 faculties are symbolized by the niche, glass, lamp, tree, and oil. All these are related to lights, for it is through them that all kinds of existing things are manifested. Now, y'all do know this goes back to that parable in Surah 24, ayat 34, 35, and 36. When it talks about the parable, of Allah's light. And that's another one of the hearts, of that particular surah, the heart, of those verses. And it talks about, the light, and within the light, a glass, the glass within the light within the glass part itself, in the niche, in the lamp, in the tree, and it being also symbolic to a star, And this is really a representation of man himself. And we say Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. So the faculties of enlightenment, the light that is in your consciousness, is what illuminate your actions. So how much light in you determine the way you act, the deeds that you put forth. What you lack in light also determine type of deeds that you put forth. So we know ones by their faculties and therefore by the way that they use them. And we can tell by what is made manifest through your actions, what you do with your hands, what you do with your ability to think. You know, where you go, the places you go, the places you find yourself treading in, where you like to hang out at. All of that has to do with the thought pattern, the type of people that you like to keep within your company. Listen to what it says. It says, eyesight cannot perceive this light. Surah 6, Ayat 103, except through faith. See, this is why we say, can you see him? No. Where's the nearest place that we can meet him? So we're not talking about a physical light. We're talking about a spiritual light. The same light that was spoke of in Genesis when it said, let there be light. That wasn't the sun or the moon or no star, because that sunlight came forth on the fourth day according to that book, but this light came forth in the first day. This light separated from the darkness and manifested, some people say Satan or the lower self, huh? But anyway, it says Allah is concealed within his own light, as he calls himself Al-Batin. People don't know the hidden one. You have Al-Zahiri, Zahiri. Zahiri represents the external. Batin represents the internal. Spirit clothed with soul, made in the form of Allah. Islam. So it says, when someone with faith knows the ways of striking, this light becomes visible. It says, one can witness him only through light, and the light is he. And that's why it says in Surah 24, there it is, Ayat 36, Allah guides the one who desires to be guided with his light. His light is thus a source of guidance for all people in those houses where Allah is being adored and worshiped day and night are raised in honor. It ain't talking about a house that you going in on the manifest. You the house, you the temple of perfection. You see? And then look, it even uses a root connected to that word araf. The rendering of the meaning of the word rafa should be the same as verse 355. Just as the houses of the believers cannot be physically raised to heaven, so the body of Jesus cannot be raised physically in the heaven. It says those who believe in the bodily ascension of Jesus should ponder over this verse and all of those 21 verses where Rapha is being used and not given exceptional meaning to it when it referred to Jesus. In other words, we know this represents consciousness and elevation and so forth and so on. So yeah, this is powerful. You know, it's a whole bunch, like I said, more even here, dealing with the faculties alone, you know, where we can go into it. Like here's one right here. Surah 82, Ayat 7. Then perfected you with wisdom, then endowed you with great natural powers and faculties. You see? It says every form needs a temperament. Our temperament is based on our faculties. Faculties are like tools. Tools where we use what in the workshop of the mind, what thought is used to build what character. Faculties are like tools, and the best craftsman can make the best use of these tools. It says, if we ponder over all the faculties and natural powers we have been endowed with, it says we can well realize that we can rise to the highest peaks of spiritual and scientific eminence. This is what we're talking about. Unlimited capacity for growth and development. Man, I didn't say it, Allah said it. So, I mean, we can go on and on and on. You can see he ain't letting up. You know, we hearing a lot of good things about our faculties, family. You know, watch this. It says, and the human soul, knobs, and that mighty Lord who made it perfect. Then he revealed to it, the soul, the ways of its evil and its righteousness. And this is why you have to search it. This is why you got to search it for the good faculties. You see? Because remember, man, it's truth and falsehood strangely mixed. This is what a truth and falsehood is strangely mixed. Not in the spirit of itself, but the soul. Because the soul is not immortal, but yet it has within it the capacity to unfold into immortal virtues. If you are able to raise the body to a higher tone, flesh divine is what we're talking about. Then you can cross the borderland of, at will. You know, you can come up out of that lower self and not allowed to have a hold on you. You know, man, this is just powerful. This is just dealing with understanding the faculties. You know, and we can go a little further in regards to also dealing with virtues. You know, here's a root word here. It says marada, to moisten bread in order to soften it. So this is really talking about, you know, we can actually say it has to do with, you know, one becoming more spiritually inclined, as I would put it. You can't do nothing with no hard, stiff bread, stale bread. But it says to become accustomed, inert, insolent, persistent, habituated to. It says be insolent, audacious in pride, in the act of disobedience, excessively disobedient, rebellious, become accustomed to a thing, persist in it. The word general given negative sense. You know, and it goes on. Maradu, they persist in and are habituated to. They have grown insolent in. Maridun, insolently disobedience, rebellious, obstinate, rebellious. Marid, rebellious, obstinate, rebellious, stripped of all virtues. So, in other words, when one become rebellious, you know, then they have went into a state where they have been stripped of their virtues. You know, you have been stripped of your virtues of being in the higher self when you become, you know, a rebel against your higher self, so to speak. You know, so anyway, they got a couple of different measures on here. The virtues of patience, that's what Maroon represented. That was just talking about Mara during the time when Ishmael's was with his mother as she ran in between the mountains, Safa and Marfa. But that's a whole nother measure. So, I mean, this is what we're getting at, family. You have the potential in you to be the greatest you, you know, but if you fall into being lesser than that, you can only blame you. You can't blame anybody else outside of you. You know, you can't blame, you know, anybody else for your fall. You have to look to the self for the fall. You see, you have to look to the self for the fall, family. You know, and when we are able to do this and be honest with ourselves, then we can truly say that we have searched ourselves, you know, by means of our faculty, and we know ourselves by means of our virtue. What are those virtues? Immortal virtues. The immortal virtues of the what? Soul. The immortal virtues of the soul, family. So that's the work. Search yourself by your faculties, the good that's in you, and know yourself by your virtues. And then you truly will understand what it means to honor your spiritual mother, Isha, and your spiritual father, Isha. And your life will be extended to be long, you know, upon The plane of things made manifest as well as the plane of soul. And when we say the plane of things made manifest, we're talking about the legacy that you leave behind. You know, just like Prophet Noble Drew Ali was able to demonstrate. So may we all be able to reach the heights. May we all be able to ascend into the heights because we know wisdom speak from out of the highest plane of spirit life. All we got to do is reach up in consciousness, and demonstrate that hand clasp of unity with our holy prophet that's reaching down from on high. We call that the meeting of the minds. So that being said, Moorish Ken, what we're going to do, we're going to open up the floor so that we can hear from our family, and they can give their portions and gratitude. Star 6 your phone, Moors. Islam.
Islam.
Islam, Sister Curta Bay.
Islam, the engineer, Kurt Bay. First, let me rise and give praises to our great God Allah. I give honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to Act One. I give honors to all my government officials, and I give honors to you. Woo, good. Wow, Dr. National Assistant Grand Chief, for this powerful class tonight, talking about the soul, chapter 60, holy instruction from the prophet, the soul of man, and then your topic, search it by its faculties, know it by its virtue. They are more in number than the hairs of thy head, the stars of heaven are not to be counted with them. Even in that ayat, that one particular ayat, man, it's so much revealed in there. Until that's a whole nother demonstration. I tell you, I'm just sitting here. Definitely got to go back and listen to the playback and just listen to you going into the Quran and using those Arabic words and searching those words out and teaching us how to do the same. I tell you, understanding about the soul, I've always had questions about the soul, especially before I even came into the government, because we kind of use the spirit and the soul interchangeably. But now that I've been here in the government and now I know about the vibration spirit and then the soul is the spirit vibrating a little slow and all those things, I'm getting a greater understanding. But tonight, woo, good gracious, you even took me even deeper into the understanding. And when you start talking about the faculties and showing us how to search about the faculties, I tell you, I wrote so much, my little hand got tired. But when you was talking about, I loved it when you talked about how even though we may say that we are atheists, but deep inside, and you showed us those verses where we had agreed that we knew who made us. Oh man, this is such a powerful lesson, Dr. Shaheed. It was just so much that you covered. But to make a long story short, you talked about how even when we are atheists, you talked about how when they get in trouble or something, the first thing they're gonna call on is Allah. Where they don't say Allah, but oh God, they gonna call on a higher power. And I know even for myself, before when I was in Christianity and all of that, I knew that I didn't know how I knew, but it's just something in my DNA, as they say, that I knew that there was something higher than me out there. Might not didn't know what to call it, might have been calling it wrong because I was saying God. We know that wasn't on his name, but we knew, we automatically knew it was in us. And then you talked about the Rafa, and I might not be saying it right, but all of those different Arabic names that you was telling us about, and how one of them means specific and one means general. When you talked about that specific, I thought about our information, the wisdom, when we speak from the highest plane of spirit life, speaking from speaking wisdom. I thought about that as being the specific versus the general. You know how you can just talk about things, but some things have to come from within, and you're not going to be able to answer those things unless you go within yourself. And I'm gonna close it with this. You talked about, I loved it when you talked about how people can get intoxicated on the lower self. I tell you, all you have to do is look around and see that our people have fallen to a state, to that bestiality state. I mean, they have hit the lowest of the lowest, and they're intoxicated off of that lower self. They don't even know what to call themselves. They refer to themselves as the third person, that like they or them or however they all confused because they are intoxicated with that lower self. And you talk about the faculties like tools, the workshop of the mind. Oh, Dr. Shahid, I could go on, and I know our Morris King is biting at the bit to jump in here. So, but gratitude for letting me share. I tell you, I'm definitely got to play this here playback over and over again because there's so many good nuggets in here. Gratitude for letting me share. Peace and love.
Islam, and gratitude for sharing. And we give honors to you for that measure, Goddess. You know, our chairman had us do a measure where we had to go do a breakdown on this chapter, you know, a little while back, a few moons ago, you know, and this was the chapter that he was telling us would give us the ability to go up into the chambers of the self and really become adept, you know. And as I look in this chapter and I hear, you know, the faculties and the virtues, it make me think of the faculties almost synonymous with solar principles, you know, and the virtues synonymous with lunar principles. And I tell you why, you know, because we know that we talk about the husbandman casting his seed within the soil of the soul. And I think about how the sun casts its rays into the soil of the earth, and it brings about nutritious value, so to speak, to be absorbed by the plant life and so forth and so on. You know, but then I looked at, you know, the soil as being synonymous, you know, with the earth as it relates to Mother Earth, you know, and also it represents that seed that was cast into that soil. We know there was a connection between the earth and the moon scientifically, you know. So when we go into Ayat 9 and it says she is immortal, see, a lot of people didn't pick it up. If you go there, it says in 8 above that, as the moon retaineth her nature through darkness and spread itself before her face as a curtain, so the soul remaineth perfect even in the bosom of a fool. Now we know the soul go through 7 phases in its wanting and waxing, you know. So these are also powerful jewels if we understand how that relates to the different degrees of unfoldment, how we coming through our 7 stages of self-mastery. But it says she is immortal, she is unchangeable. Notice it says she, it used the term her. She is like in all. And it says, health calleth her forth to show her loveliness, and application anointed her with the oil of wisdom. You know, and it goes on. Although she lived after thee, think not she was born before thee. She was created with thy flesh and formed with thy brain. Powerful. Because you think of this and you say, oh man, it says justice could not give her to thee exalted by virtues, nor mercy deliver her to thee deformed by vices. These must be thine, and thou must answer for them. So all of this language that's being used here, family, you know, is being used for a reason. You know, this is not by chance. It's right there. And like I tell you, the immortal virtues, you know, having to come from the mother of virtues. That's through divine creed. So Islamism, Mother Ma'at, a Mother may I? Yes, you may. Jump on in here, Moorish King. Islam. Star 6 your phone.
Islam.
Islam, Sister Cammy.
Yes, sir. This is Sister Cammy in Michigan. I rise, honor, and praise the great God of Allah. I honor the Prophet Noble to Ali. official citizens, Moors here, there, and everywhere, especially my Moorish kin. The soul of man in your demonstration tonight, you mentioned those faculties and how they're actions of the soul. And the soul, like the Moors rather, we don't die. So that soul, if you're supposed to toil for Allah and the Prophet and study yourself, when the flesh passes away, the soul is still alive. So I think it's ayat 1 that talks about the soul being somewhat mysterious or something. It was a vocabulary word the other day. I can't think of it exactly. But I don't expect to go into further study until I transition. Because if it's immortal, then your soul has to do something when it's at one with your Father God Allah. The actions of the soul, I think a lot of that happens when you're in the flesh. And when you're out of the flesh, I can't say for sure, but I got the teachings of the Prophet. So I'll let that guide that thought. When your faculties are questioned, as far as your ability to function on all five, there are numerous reasons why a person may temporarily or permanently, while they're in the flesh, lose their faculties. I know I have. Some will say I'm losing my mind. And if I lost it, I needed to find it. Or someone needed to return it to me because I needed to think. I need to be on that above the next demonstration. And Allah brought me back from that. That has to do with the soul and the actions of the soul while you're in the flesh. I'm not quite sure about how that soul thing works once you have left the flesh. But death is not a friend. I mean, death is not an enemy. Death is a friend. So I'm not looking forward to leaving here anytime soon. But when Allah calls me home, then I guess I'll find out the different mysterious things about the soul. But from what I understand, based on the Prophet's teachings, we don't die. And we don't call God Jesus. We call him Allah, now that we know his name. And it's know the correct way to pray and to meditate and all of that there. We know the highest principles of man and how to live our lives. I mention that because you mentioned the atheists. And when something's going on, the first thing they want to do is, oh God, oh Jesus, Lord Jesus Christ, and all that other whatever they're going through. But atheists, I really don't like fooling with them because they don't have that godly divinity within them. What I noticed in my studies of religion is that Buddhism, Muhammad, Prophet, Christianity, Jehovah's Witnesses, they all have some belief in God, some type of moral sense of what's right and wrong. And atheists, they don't have that belief. And I don't know how they determine what is right and what is wrong when I've never been one. So gratitude for allowing me to speak. It should be around 7 minutes. We got too many masterminds on here to have some crickets now. Gratitude.
In Islam, and gratitude for the measure, Sister Cammie. And also, when it come down to dealing with it, most atheists, they think they believe in scientific literacy, so they take their mindset based upon the survival of the best mentality, and that ain't, that ain't gonna get nobody nowhere. But yeah, we give honors to you for that drawing. Indeed, a grand drawing, sister. Islam. All
And
right.
I think the group you were talking about, they're called Christian Scientists or something.
Well, now I'm actually speaking in general, but yeah, them too. I'm speaking of most of our people that I seen that run out there and say that they don't believe in the Most High. They also profess to be Darwinists. Yeah, they believe in that too. So Islam.
Yes,
So
I agree.
yeah, they believe they come from monkeys. Gratitude, sister. Islam, brother Muhammad Bey.
Islam, grand man, grand magnanimous class. Islam, yes, I'm Dr. Gerald Hamid Muhammad Bey of the South Carolina Consulate. First, let me rise in praise of our Father God, Allah, who is the best known, the best arranger of all things, that give the highest honors to his holy prophet, our holy prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who is the last prophet of this new era of time. Now, he is the seventh manifestation in divine flesh, the seventh angel, Al-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, giving much love, honor, and respect to you always, our national assistant, Grand Sheikh of Moorish America and its nation, for always exercising your five and giving freely of the spirit of the truth that your Father God Allah bestowed upon you. Gratitude for all that you do with truth and sincerity for your nation. I give honors to Act 1 of our divine constitution and bylaws. I give honors to our grand national seal, our grand national emblem, and our grand national flag. I give honors to this theocratic government in which we all live and can live. I give honors to Marcus Messiah Garvey L., who was the forerunner that opened up the way for our beloved prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to all of our Moorish kin, all of our visitors out there in the live audience, our student ministers, angels, executive rulers, to everyone on this live StreamYard presentation of the Moorish Perspective National Conference Call and Study Session. I give honors to those that spoke before me and those that will speak after me. And I give honors to absolutely everything Moorish. Grand. Oh, man, very powerful and very thought-provoking class, grand man. The ayat, search it by its faculties. Know it by its virtues. They are more in number than the hairs of thy head. The stars of heaven are not to be counted with them. You're just going into that whole thing about the faculties, and when you go into this word, it's talking about the inherent mental or physical power, an ability, natural or acquired, for a particular kind of action, the individualized center of God consciousness, faith, strength, wisdom, or judgment, love, power, imagination, understanding, will, order, or law, zeal, renunciation, and life. When we take control of our faculties, it is then when we are exercising the will of our Father God Allah. And you went into the Al Araf, the elevated place, and in our Moorish science, we call this faith. It is what we know to be the truth, not what we believed, in our unfoldment before, when we thought we had some knowledge, when we thought we had some understanding. But this is when we know that we have some knowledge. This is when we know that we have some understanding. This class also made me think about, there's a verse again in the Holy Quran, is chapter 10 and ayat number 57, I believe it is. And it says this. It says, "Oh man, there has come to you a direction from your Lord, a healing for the diseases in your hearts, and for those who know, a guidance and a mercy." So this is what we're talking about again, right? Again, the ayahs that you quoted about you got two of them that I know of in the Grand Quran, but I found this one particularly for my understanding where I am when we all are unfolding in Surah Al-Mulk, which is the 67th chapter of the Holy Quran, the Quran of Mecca. In the 23rd ayat, Al-Mulk means the dominion. So we know that when we're dealing with this automatically deals with the self. Yes, it has a greater understanding, but it always starts with the self. And listen what it says in reference to the very thing that you talked about, Grand Man. Ayat number 23. Say, it is he who has created you and made you grow and made you the faculties of hearing, seeing, feeling, and understanding. Little thanks is it that you give. So, in this verse, our Father God is letting us know, right, that he gave of himself. See, in moral science, the first question is who made you? Who made me? Who made us? Allah. So if we know that Allah, as you mentioned, if we want to take it, for the sake of words, it represents the universal mind, represents thought activity from which all things come. We're still talking about these faculties that come forth and manifest themselves on the plane of things made manifest, or the plane of matter. And he gave these faculties to us for a higher purpose. But we have been living in a world and in a realm and in a time where we were misdirected, where we were miseducated, and where we were misguided to think that the only thing that we were supposed to use these divine faculties for is for matter, for material gain. But this is a new era of time now. This is what our prophet said. This is a new era of time now. And that which was will be no more. So now, the state of consciousness in this area of time, we are ready, the people are ready to receive this truth that you're speaking about now, because the faculties are at a higher rate of vibration now. And they can receive and they can hear, like I said, about the seeing, the hearing. And we know that even all of this, oh man, our beloved prophet Noble Drew Ali said what? Thought is the cause of it all. So in ending, the last thing, just an example when it says they are more than the hairs on our head. They are not to be counted with the stars. So one just small example, when you go into the so-called, right, Asma al-Huna, right? Husna, right, which is the attributes of Allah. When you just take like a few of them, like for example, like Al-Rashid, when you start talking about righteousness. Now, righteousness has a multitude of faculties and functions within itself, and that's just one attributive aspect that we, as gods in the flesh, have within us. So when we go through that, we see clearly everything that you talked about tonight. And I'm just so grateful for this, Grand Man. You know what I mean? This is, oh man. And one last thing. In the Grand Quran, you mentioned this just a minute ago when Sister Cami was talking, I believe. No, Sister Kurtleback. There's a word in the ayat of the throne. And it says, El Hayyu Ayum, El Hay. This attribute of El Hay has the quality whereby, just like the rain, or just like you use the example of the sun, whereby the rays or the high, right, is sent down to the earth or to whatever it is to be sent to. And its quality is that which raises to life. In that life are the functions or the faculties of everything that that life is supposed to produce. God, man, that's cute. Islam. Let me stop running my beat. Gratitude, Grand Man. This is a grand magnanimous class. Islam, peace and love. Thanks for letting me share.
And gratitude in Islam, brother, for that drawing. Praise be to Allah. Islamism without the schism. But all right. Is there any other more who would like to come forth and exercise their fire in relation to dealing with this measure that we brought forth, Islam? Search it by its faculties, know it by its virtues. Islam.
Islam.
Islam, brother Bati Bey.
Islam. Sister Grandship. This is Dr. Batu Day with our territory. First, I'd like to rise and give all man of praise to Allah. To the Prophet, honest God, the credit government, our royal council, our flag, seal, emblem, our divine constitution, our swift angels, our Mukti, sisters, like honest to the ones that spoke before me, or the ones that will speak after. Honest to you for this class. And, when I was listening to the measures given, and then on the question on the floor, and thinking about how things are learned, you don't, even though you have, it says the seed has the seed carries with it the same potency as the source. And it's paraphrasing from chapter the creation and fall of man. And so if the seed holding in its within itself the potencies of the source from which it came, that means that it has to go through different trials and temptations to unlock those potencies or those benefits, or in essence, those 99 names, those 99 attributes that Allah has. And those are like you were saying, sometimes, and that's how I look at it, is really the fact that those 99 attributes of Allah coincide with the potencies that are within each spirit, or which within each soul guided by the Spirit. And so you have to, it's kind of like when you hear Morgan Freeman in that Bruce Almighty say, do you think God is, when you pray for strength, do you think he's going to give you strength, or he's going to give you situations where you're going to have to be strong in? And that changes the paradigm on how you view and how you view things, how you view your situations, more in your faculties, how you even, and what you even ask for. Then you want to start being careful, because you notice that what you ask for is not, it don't come in the form of fashion that your mind frame or your ideal at that point in time as what portion where you are afforded to wants. But it's there for the betterment, for that outcome that you so earnestly desire. And so when we're looking at the fact that to be, even if we look at our principles, the five highest, that's why we call it the five highest, because in those five highest, that is really where your God state is. You could be all other, there's 99 attributes, but we when we say the five highs, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, everything is pretty much plumbed from that aspect given unto man, you know, to be the minister of and to minister to from those faculties. And the mind has to be creative enough using the, you know, that the actions of the soul, thinking, understanding, reason, willing, remembrance, and in order to bring about and even conquer certain situations while still having those five highest principles intact. So, you know, it's a complex question, but at the same time, you know, he says that be careful what you ask for, you know, and that's just what I got from that. With that, leaves a come to peace of love.
Gratitude, brother. We give honors to you for that grand drawing, brother Consul General of the Ira Territory. That's a powerful measure, you know, in and of itself. There's something, you know, basically within thee that informs that clay, you know, and there's a grand drawing in regards to dealing with that. In closing, because we're getting ready to go to our officials now, I will share a brief measure with you that's very important, that most of our people that are not familiar, they look over this particular drawing. And it's actually found in Surah 15, Ayat 26 in the Grand Quran. I'm going to share my screen real quick. And there's something very important. I'm going to show you how deep, you know, these lessons are and how they always pretty much, they bear witness through the deific tie, so to speak. This is why we talk about the uniting. Let me see. I just want to show you this here. And this right here going to take us beyond the manifest as well. Let's see here. You always hear us say, health is to the body as honesty is to the soul. So let me share this right here, the entire screen real quick. And this is just a bonus in going out. You know, a lot of people get caught up into the form of man, but they don't know, you know, what's actually being said here, right? And actually, it says, let me blow this up a little bit. It says, Walakad Kalak Alinasa min Salasali min Hamain Asamayan. And so basically, what's being said here says, indeed, we created man from sounding clay, molded from black mud, right? Now, the key in this special drawing, family, that most people don't know is that it actually goes into a grand drawing, you know, and this is all dealing with how the man was made when it comes to dealing with his constitution, so to speak. You know, and if we understand that aspect of him, we say, okay, well, that's all he is, and that's it, you know. But it goes deeper than that, because if you come over here in the ayat further down, and this is actually, it actually speaks of, you know, a jinn being created from smokeless fire. So we all know that anything when you're dealing with a smokeless fire, you know, this is really synonymous with passions and desires, because we already know what Iblis represent. But also it goes down further in here, and it uses the term Kalaki Basharin. This is referring to the human being now. There are three words that are used in the Grand Quran. It says Basharin min Salsalin min Hamayin Samiun. And hamain again, that's that word ham, like ham. You know, we understand we come through the chemistry, you know, of mortal life, the ministry, you know, of death in relation to dealing with love divine, and then the mystery of deific life. So the mystery of deific life is here. And it goes and says, remember, O prophet, when your Lord said to the angels, I'm going to create a human being from sound and clay molded from black mud, right? But the word that's used here for human being, again, is basharim. What does this word basharim mean? A basharan, rather. What does this word mean? Because man is referred to in 3 terms in the Grand Quran: al-insan, Adam, and basharan. These are the 3 words that are used for man. What is significant about this word basharam? See, it says a human being. See, kalakun. Okay, yep. So this is creation, soft, and that is salsalim, the clay. It is something in you that is higher, you know, than the clay. That informed it. Now watch this basharim. We're gonna go to the word. We got it right here. This is the root of the word. Listen to what it says. Bashara, to lay bare one's skin, to take off the bark. Now anybody know, you know, this is going beyond the skin level. So this penetrate beyond the black concept that one want to get caught up in when they say, okay, this is dealing with a description. This goes way beyond that. It says it means to rejoice, bashir. You see, joyful countenance, bushir, good news, basharat, fine looking appearance. So this is your best appearance. This is what we call the aura, the inner you that is shining, you know, outwardly, so to speak. This is the real indicator, good news, right? Basharat, exterior shape. Okay, spirit clothed with soul made in the form of Allah, huh? Flesh divine, huh? Fine feature, the outer visible part of the skin, bashashara. And these are given different measures of the same word, different degrees. And it says, he gave or imparted such important, urgent, pressing, grave, significant, stupendous news, which changed the color in the features of the listener, right? It's a measure in the Grand Quran where we say we take on the hue of Allah, and we know that this has to do with the attributes of Allah. Sebagatala, right? But it says the word has generally come to be used in connection with the good or happy news. It says, but it also is used in connection with the bad news as well. Bashir. You can tell by one's countenance, you know, what type of news it is that they bring, good news or bad news. When somebody coming up, you know, so to speak, you can see it in their walk. You can see it in their talk. Actions speak louder than words. Mubashashir, one who announces good news, the bearer of good tidings. Mustabishira, one who rejoices. Bushara, good news. Bushrakum, glad tidings to you. Here, ya of Bushara is replaced with alif before a fixed pronoun. Now, watch this. Bashara, to go into, a wife, know a woman, right? But then Basharun, human being, and this is what we're looking for. Human being is called Bashur because of his good body. It ain't talking about the physical body, family. It says image, figure, and capacities. What image have you been made in? You see, if we go into our Moorish Holy Quran, we know that the soul itself, you know, is the image of its creator. You see, capacities. Remember I talked about the unlimited capacities? So this is the true you. You see, Bashirun. This is the true human being. This connects with what we call that spirit clothed with soul, made in the form of Allah, flesh divine. This is spirit man that we're talking about here. So when we understand this, then we go back to Kemet and we see this, it all makes sense. So we see the Ba bird hovering over a mummy here. This is a depiction that's being demonstrated in many different areas, or whatever the case may be, right? What is the Ba bird bringing back, to the mummy? It is said that when we lay down at night, whether we know it or not, we transcend. And it's the will of the great God that we come back to the body. The soul leaves the body. So the Ba is bringing forth the Ka, to this special moment, so to speak. And all this also goes into a deeper meaning of, resurrection and, and so forth and so on, and life, but that Ba Sharim, which is like the Batin. Batin, remember, means the hidden one. What is hidden within you? You see, what is a part of you that's in form in the clay? It's a spirit. So that's the good part. That's the good body, the good you. You see? And may we all be able to attain to this in due time to become who we truly are and unfold in all of those unlimited capacities that we consist of. You see? And all of this has to do with good tidings. Good, 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 good. Like I said, Prophet Noble Drew Ali said his good Moors are going to live. And he also said he was going to take his good Moors up above the sun, moon, and stars around the almighty throne of Allah. So these some powerful measures here, family. When you understand that right there. So I just say gratitude. And may we all be able to tap into our higher self. And at this time, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and go to our officials. Starting with Sister Alseta Moon L. Islam, you there, goddess and queen?
Islam, grand man. The goddess and queen is presently on a mission. Islam, gratitude, peace and love.
Islam, gratitude, praise be to Allah. Allah is leading on and victory is sure. Well, all right. Well, let us call forth our National Grand Mufti, Dr. Kanshu Ma'ak Heru Bey. Islam, you there, grand man? Well, Islamism, we know our brothers about the business of our Father God Allah. Praise be to Allah. Well, all right.
Let's more. His call dropped.
Okay.
If you want to give him a moment.
Okay, Islam.
Gratitude.
Gratitude, Grand National Secretary of State. Islam, grand man. Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
And these devices, man.
Oh,
I
man.
can hear you well.
You know I know. Islam.
Islam, gratitude. We rise, first and foremost, giving all thanksgiving, adoration, worship, and praise to our Father God, Allah, great God of the universe, the most beneficent and the most wise, and we give highest honors that we can give to his prophet, our prophet, the last prophet in these days. And in these times, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Elhaj Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, the savior of humanity. We give honors to his forerunner, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and we give honors to his government, our government, the Moorish American government, the government in which we live, according to Act 6. We give honors to the officials of this said government, our divine ministers and our swift angels, our mufti, our royal council, our secretaries. We give honors to our citizens, the Moorish Americans. We give honors to our flag, our divine constitution and bylaws, our holy Quran, our grand national seal and our grand national emblem, our book of fire, the exhument of a nation. We give honors to everything that is Moorish. We give a special high honor to you, National Assistant Grand Sheikh, Dr. Shadu Amiti Medu Shepsu El, for bringing forth this grand Moorish perspective this evening. And we give honors to our Moorish kin who have spoken before us, and to our Moorish kin that will speak after us. We give honors to you, angels. continue to give the honors where they're due and honor to all true and divine prophets. And we give honors to our ancestors as they have come before us, leading the way. And we are them today without doubt or contradiction, because no one has the power to change man from his descent nature. Praise Allah for that. And it's definitely been a grand perspective this evening, drawing off this grand eye, looking at, not judging it by its faculties, but looking at our soul, or looking at this soul, and understanding that, it's more than meets the eye. It's more than what one can conceive of in a materialistic thought pattern or a material world concept. That when we looking at this perfect creation, this most beautiful creation that our Father God created, there's so much to learn and so much to be appreciative of, and the beauty of what He created. So when you were speaking about how He said the light was before the sun, He said, "Let there be light," and did. The sun came later. Is a very, those are those jewels that if you ain't paying attention to, you miss. This is what our people miss as they just go along to get along, or as they fall in line like sheep. Just those small things that will make one think and question what is being told. And we know this is why the ones that are telling them this, have faith. Oh, you can't question God, and these type of things, because they don't understand themselves. And one thing we know that people are afraid of is the unknown. Whether it's truth or not, it's something one haven't had a concept of, they're fearful of it. And this has to do with partial of the this manifest that we have, and trying to keep oneself safe, with flight or flight, very primitive thinking of, I can only look at things as good or bad, and if I don't know what it is, then it's bad because I have no association to it. And we don't, we try not to get caught up in homeostasis, trying to stay in the same spot. We are here to evolve. We are here to ascend. And that physical thought pattern or that homeostasis is trying to keep us in the same spot that we feel comfortable in. And we know there is no in growth, as they say, is growing pains. There's always some discomfort in growth. And so, we have to look to that and know that that's a part of the unfoldment, even in trying to understand the soul. That we're going to, as we get to studying it and growing, some things is going to be painfully obvious. That ones ain't going to be on the same level. That be painful to watch ones that you thought were friends and family drop away as they cannot vibrate to the tune of the knowledge or the tone of the frequency of knowledge that you are emitting as you begin to speak the truth, as you begin to now put together what they call the secrets of the universe. But they are sacred, these keys, this knowledge. And this is why it has been elusive in this day and time, because Allah has said this is the time now for ones to come and get a greater understanding. Where, as our prophet said, the more have be a little further along in their understanding by those ones who have gotten this basic first foundation, they'll be able to bring more to the forefront. And that's just, of course, a paraphrase of what the prophet said. And it has to do with us continuing to, perfect the self, continuing to look within the self and study the self, as the lesson tells us. When you think you've done studying all that you can study, the reply is always, study the self, study some more. Because there's avenues and there's aspects to the self that change as the environment change. Understanding yourself by yourself is different than understanding yourself with somebody else or in a community. And as you have to now deal with other elements, other attitudes, other personalities, other people's battles with the fivefold, and you have to be able to navigate through that. And so, as we look and count our blessings for the soul that we have, and know that we're not going to get to know it all at one time, but we carry many ages until all lessons are learned, and then we can move from that thought pattern. We can move with a little bit more patience. We can move with a little bit more focus in our life, instead of trying to do everything in this one life or everything at one time. We can realize that I can try to do everything just okay, or I could choose to do one or two things great. And that greatness is going to allow me to move further along the way and reaching one's salvation. So just wanted to add that, because it's been a grand class, and I think that our Moorish kin have definitely been able to continue to grow from these perspectives that you continue to present to us Muslims. So gratitude for the class, and gratitude to you, Moorish America, for being here with us, giving us your time, attention, respect. We love you. Islam and peace.
And Islam and peace, grand man. The love is mutual. Honors to you and the tribe. Praise be to Allah. Well, all right. Grand measure. Well, all right. Well, let us call forth our Grand National Secretary of State, Sister Hatshepsut Rakat Ma'at Anpu, Tutankhamun Bey. Islam, Goddess and Queen.
Islam, gratitude.
Islamism.
Islam, Moorish kin. Gratitude. Pardon the background noise. First of all, I want to rise, giving all praises to our Father God Allah, giving honor to our Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, the last prophet in these days and times, giving honor to our Moorish American government, all of our officials, staff, Swiss angels, muftis, divine ministers, most especially our Moorish kin. Giving honor to all those Moors that spoke before me, all those Moors that will speak after me. Giving a special honor to our National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Moorish America, Dr. Shedo Amenti Al-Muhajjid Shepsuel, for opening our meeting according to law, along with hosting our Grand Moorish Perspectives class this evening. Praise Allah. Grand keys in our special class. Our subject matter coming from Ayat 5, search it by its faculties, know it by its virtues. They are more in number than the hairs of the head. The stars of heaven are not to be counted with them. I want to give you gratitude and much honor, Dr. Shaheen, for bringing forth more clarity to these special keys. And just in this particular ayah itself, when you were speaking about the vastness and just slowing this ayah down long enough for us to be able to expand even more as far as looking at the universality of who we are as God. When you're speaking about the faculties and the virtues are more in number than the hairs of thy head, and even the stars of heaven are not to be counted with them. And so often we place limitations on ourselves and separate ourselves away from our Creator by dealing with those things just strictly on a manifest level. And the Prophet lets us know that finite mind can't comprehend those things infinite. So when we start to expand our focus, recognizing that just like we have to put the work in when it comes down to the things on the manifest in order to be successful and fruitful, the same pattern we have to use when it comes down to dealing with these special souls. And that was a powerful degree when it was speaking about when Allah was questioning the descendants of Adam. And in essence, let me get it right. Well, in essence, asking the question, am I not your Lord? And so therefore, when it comes down to the day of judgment, you can't say, oh, I didn't know, or, my parents didn't teach me, et cetera, because even in our Quran, it speaks about the soul seeking and searching for truth even to the ends of the earth. And just a couple of the words that you brought forth, because, it was a grand list. Adala, just dealing with the consciousness of justice and knowing how to execute justice properly. And this is the one of the responsibilities that we have as vicegerents, because we are responsible for what we know, and we definitely don't want to mislead or misdirect the course of any soul. So this is why it's imperative that we study and continue to study, that we might judge it right. When we look at being endowed with great natural powers, and so often we find ourselves scratching the surface again on a finite manner because we have not opened up the mindset to the limitless possibilities of what it is that we can do as God. So when we tend to the things that are on the manifest level and recognize the fact that we have got to be prepared not only for this plane but the next, then we'll see the criticalness of being able to expand our virtues as well, to expand our faculties as well. And this is all the building when it comes down to the temple of perfected man. Fruition is the goal, and not a word is lost. So this is just such a powerful demonstration, even when it came down to the lamp and the light, and how each of the senses went to the next stage, and everything was interconnected. That was just so beautifully done, and I just can't wait to get back to this, the playback, and do even more research on that because we are truly great people. We were described as beautifully and wonderfully made, and we as a people are just so blessed, and just to be able to take these lessons to our brothers and sisters and the rest of the nations of the earth. Indeed, it's in due time. So gratitude more for calling me forth. Much peace and love to all of my Moorish gang. Keep up the great work, Dr. Shaheed. Our chairman is not available this evening, and much peace and love to all. That's all.
And Islamism Grand National Secretary of State, we give honors to you for that grand drawing. We give honors to the tribe of endurance, and honors to our Grand National Chairman for everything it is that he's done, everything that he is doing, and everything it is that he will do. Praise be to Allah. Well, all right. Well, let us call forth our National Grand Sheikh, Dr. Serapis Amin Rael. Islam, you there, Grand Sheikh?
Islam, Angel.
Islamism.
Go down with me. Yes, sir. We give our fathers praise, though. Giving a prophet, Noble Ali, highest honors. Honors to our officials, our staff, Grand Mufti, Assistant Grand Mufti, Grand Mufti Corps, Van ministers, student visitors alike. It's just a grand demonstration, Chief, and we appreciate you set it out like this. Now I was preparing it like this. They talked about structure, the numbers of the faculties of the soul. They are more than the numbers of our head. As you look at that, you have to marvel at the wonders of Allah's love. He has created, he afflicted us to be in this nation, as a nation of people, and to give aid and assistance, because one is allotted the marvels of the universal love that Allah puts on us. And you notice it's not no one individual, it's a multitude of one. Counted, searching by the faculty of the soul, more than the faculty that is up on one's head. So that means that one is truly developed in the context of being a soldier, right, so to speak, ready to move at a moment. This demonstration gives us, we on a plane. See, if you look at the merits of the plane, you know, it says it counted more than the hairs on one head. So this tells me that there's an associate minister somewhere in the universal space that's thinking what I'm thinking. And we put these things in the context. Each of us that's on this conference call, to have ones that are tied into, remember what Sheikh said, you and I tied. You know, and so this conversation brings us to the fulfillment of the soul, brings us to the day of the morning as we rise on this blessed, this grand demonstration. It gives us the ability to fold our mat a certain way and rise up and unfold it another way to give one in and out of our sovereignty. And we give a lot of praise, giving us the ability to think in such ways. Islam, Angel.
And Islam,
January 15, 1929. Islam, go ahead.
Nah, you go ahead, Sheik. I thought you was waiting on me to come forth. I was just letting you go ahead. Go ahead, Grand Man.
Praise Allah. You're looking at it in the context that look out about the soul of man and the fact that each of us has the soul that's indisputable. But what do we do with the soul? It's not what we do with the soul, it's what the soul do with us. We're moving in the context of letting the soul remember alive, be thinking. And there it is. As soon as he put this thought on the manifest, it's on the manifest with him. Because he is the creator, judge, ruler, almighty, eternal, and incomparable ones. Give one the ability to think so that one is. And everything, there's nothing beneath him. It's a balance of power that gives one the ability to think. The thinking is the key that opens it up. You hear my chairman, our chairman say, close to the thought. There it is. When you're thinking about that thought, you done brought this demonstration a whole 360 degrees, bringing that one to read temperature because it moves in the sign of the hot field or the hot seal. We put it in the context of the hot seal because we're working in the sign as our sheik tell us 7 seals. We're looking at the 7 seals to roll out in the signs in the 7 wonders. Almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. This one is moving. Always conscious of where that one is standing, or where that one is stopping, and he does not stoop nor do he cripple himself. He moves in the signs of the Lord, and he's the Lord of our plane. Every time we step in, one said, well, that one is dead. Hey, no one died. He moves in signs of passing this demonstration on and getting out of this body to do another one, just like we do cars here on earth. We want to give a lot of praise for giving you the ability to function out, to give us our assignment for the coming week. Praise the Lord for you, Angel. These boys are always working here in MAD, Islam, Moorish American government. Long live the Moorish America. January 15, 1929, probably a warning. I hereby inform all citizens. Sheik, did you want me to close this down or you close it down?
Oh no, Sheik, I was letting you go ahead. And I can do it if you need me to now. No problem. Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, because I got company and I don't want disturbing the groove of this move.
Islam. Yes, sir. I'm always here to aid and assist, Grand Man. Islam.
Praise Allah. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And gratitude for you as well and your wisdom. Islam. Islamism. January 15, 1929. A warning from the Prophet to be read at every meeting. I hereby inform all citizens that they must end all radical, agitating speeches while at work in their homes or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any citizen or group of citizens who hold malicious feelings toward the government or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law that is laid down to them by their prophet. And if they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where the prophet found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the government is not right. The prophet therefore is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the government. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. By order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, we bring forth this divine decree. Islamism. Chapter 25. A holy covenant of the Asiatic nations. Yea, the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breasts of one mother have given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall thy fortunes contribute, subhanAllah, so shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Moorish movement, divine movement, everlasting movement. Go in peace, Muslims.
Great class, great class.
Islam, Moors.
Islam, Moors. Grand class.
Gratitude. Islam, peace and love. We hear the young Moorish American Muslim out there too. Islam, young Moors. Peace and love. That's what I'm talking about. We know Moorish American can hear us now. Islam, Moors. I want to give honors to all of you family, and also honors to our family that tuned in, those who made their presence known, and those who came in the chat. Honors to all of y'all. Thad D, Noble Brian, Yashamel, Marquise, Brother Malik El Bay, who else? Meat Freedom, everybody. Man, it's all love. Peace and love.
This session is no longer being recorded.
See y'all in Sunday school, Moors. Islam.